Hello everyone, and welcome back to Case Models. My name is Greg, and today we are going to be taking a look at a new product from Third Rail, their GP7s and 9s. So in this video I'll be going over the little bit of background history on the prototype, my thoughts on the models, and then we'll see them running around the layout. So stick around. To start off, let's go over a little bit of background history on the prototype. First engine I'll talk about is the GP7. The GP7 was the first EMD locomotive to have this hood unit design, as opposed to previous engines like the SW1 and the F3 F unit series that would have either an end cab switcher design or a full car body design. The benefit to this was it was much cheaper and it allowed for much better visibility, which road crews liked. As a result, the GP7 was an incredibly popular engine, with EMD selling about 2,700 of them to various railroads. These ended up becoming much more popular than the other road switchers at the time, like the RS1, RS3, and various other offerings from Fairbanks Morse and Alco. This was what really started to put EMD on the map as the leader. The GP7 was produced from about 1949 to 1954, when it was then replaced by the GP9. The GP9 looked pretty much identical, except for some minor details, but was just as popular as the GP7, with about 3,600 GP9s being built for various railroads. These engines would go on to serve very long service lives, some of which still serving today, mainly on short lines and in tourist railroads, but a lot would be rebuilt a couple times over and serve long into their, I think some even, Class 1s generally retired these things around the 80s, but there were some that stuck around for quite a while. The most notable of the GP9s that are still around are probably the Canadian Pacific and Canadian National GP9RMs and GP9Us, which have had their noses, short noses chopped for better visibility and still kicking around to this day. In terms of what I have for you today, what's in front of you is New York Central, Erie, and Erie-Lackawanna GP7s and Milwaukee Road GP9s. These are set up pretty much as delivered, with the exception of the Erie-Lackawanna ones, which are former Erie engines. And you'll notice that when looking between the two of them, they've got the same exact details. From photos that I could tell, they did not change much during the Erie-Lackawanna merger. They pretty much stayed the same. One of the key spotting details between the GP7s and 9s is on the roof. The GP9s have these single larger fans towards the cab, as opposed to the GP7s having two smaller fans. The GP9s also have different louver setups on the long hood that can help identify these if you're not above the engine. Alright, so now let's take a look at the models. So I am admittedly slightly overdue with these. There were actually 2 runs of these before I remembered to do a review on them. The first run was delivered in 2021, and the second run was delivered in 2023, I believe. In front of you is actually both runs. The Erie and the Milwaukee Road engines are from the first run, and the New York Central and Erie-Lackawanna engines are from the second run. I haven't really noticed that many differences between the 2 runs. Really, the only difference I've noticed is the finish on them. The first run has a bit of a glossier finish to it, and the second run has a more flat finish to it. The 2 rail engines, I believe, actually have a bit more of a difference in that I think the first run had QSI, so one of the last engines to have a QSI sound system on board, and I believe the second run is equipped with Loke sound. But these are the 3 rail engines, so both runs have the same ERR, Cruise, Rail Sounds 5 sound system and everything. Mechanically and electronically, the 3 rail ones are pretty much identical to the second run. Other than that, these engines are equipped with pretty much every third rail feature that we've come to know over time. They have the single motor belt drive, that quiet drive as they call it. What this means is that instead of the tower drives that we see in like Lionel, MTH, Atlas products, where the motors are above the trucks, there's a single motor laying horizontally above the fuel tank that goes down to a set of drive shafts that come out of the fuel tank and into the trucks. This allows for much better in-cab detail. These engines are equipped with, as I mentioned before, ERR Rail Sounds 5, as well as Cruise Commander. They just run on TMCC. it's pretty much just TMCC, an upgraded TMCC, but not quite legacy if you've never worked with these before. From the factory, these are equipped with electrocouplers. The Erie Lackawanna one is still equipped with its electrocouplers, but I am not a fan of knuckle couplers. I'm more of a KD guy, as you can probably tell. So in this video, I'll also go through the process of changing those out. I'll show you how that works. In terms of paint and detail, these were all pretty much spot on. The only issue that I had was in terms of the decoration of these was the New York Central ones did not have the handrails painted yellow. From what I could tell in pictures, the majority of these had yellow handrails, and honestly, I like the look of the yellow handrails a lot better. Also, in pictures I could find of 5642 and 5646, they had the yellow handrails, so I went over it with just some polyscale railbox yellow, and it looks fine. The other engines, all of them have been running mechanically perfect. I haven't had any flaws with that. The Erie 1246, I've yet to remedy this, you can still kind of see it. One of the LED for the number board pushed out the number board a little bit. This should be an easy fix, but just thought that was something of note. That was I discovered after delivery. But other than that, all the engines have correct road-specific detailing. The New York Central ones have two single chime horns mounted next to the cab on the side of the short and long hoods. The Erie and Erie Lackawanna ones have two single chime horns, one on the short hood, one on the middle of the long hood, as well as a winterization hatch. The Milwaukee Road ones have a dual chime horn on the short hood, as well as a single chime on the long hood, and dynamic brakes, as well as that winterization hatch. Another cool touch on the Milwaukee Road ones is the number plates on the side of the engine. That was a common Milwaukee Road practice. One other thing is the temperature of the LEDs. Yes, I'm bringing this up again. I still think they're just too cool. I think they're too cool of a white. They should be a bit of a warmer white. You know, this was the 40s, 50s, 60s LEDs. Didn't really exist in headlights at this point, so it should have a bit of a warmer hue to it, you know, like a halogen bulb in a car. One other key point on the first run compared to the second run, the air hoses on the Pilot were separately applied from the factory. They came in a little bag. On the second run, they came from the factory installed, which was a lot nicer because they tended to fall out quite a bit if you didn't glue them in. So on the first run, there was a handrail stanchion that was left out on the, we're going to use the Milwaukee Road one here as an example. On the conductor side of the, behind the cab, there was a handrail stanchion left off there. These were, it was caught pretty much maybe like a week after delivery of the first run, and extra stanchions were sent out. I got them as well, so that was very good on them for sending that out real quick. I didn't even notice until I was sent a notice about that. I haven't put mine on yet because I've frankly forgotten to, like this review. I'll get around to it at some point. Alright, so real quick, just because I haven't done it yet on the Erie Lackawanna ones, let's throw some KDs on these. I'll show you how it's done. So first step is to take the knuckle coupler off of here, which on these is just two simple screws. If you're like me, you could drop that one screw totally. You do have to take, let's see, then we'll take some pliers. The nice thing about these is that the plug that activates the electrocoupler is right on top of the truck. Super easy to just take out. Should be like that on everything. You can just slide the coupler out and properly dispose of it. So next thing we're going to do is take the put the Pilot plate in. Now to do that, we have to take the two screws holding the Pilot on out. Take those out. Also try to ignore the mess around on the workbench. I just have a innate ability of turning running engines into the complete opposite of that. Alright, so in the poly bag that comes with these, you have the KD mounts, which is very similar to pretty much every other KD mount that is on Golden Gate Depot third rail stuff, but you know, every single one is a different height. And then these plates. Now these plates fill in the hole in the pilot so that you don't have a gaping hole after you put a KD in there, like the Lionel SW9s, whatever they are, NW2s. Those really bother me. I'll fix those up at some point. So what it also comes with is a bunch of these other screws that are longer but are the same thread as the ones we took out of the pilot before. That is because these plates just go into these line up with the holes that hold the pilot on. So you gotta take the longer ones and then just kind of fit them on like that. It'll slot into the hole in the pilot, and then just alright, now that's on. Next is the KD. I'm using KD740s, which I think should be the industry standard at this point because of how good they look. But that's just my personal opinion. Before we do that, we're going to want to put the KD. We're going to want to put the KD pad on the engine first, because then we'll slide the coupler through. Now I use the screws that were from the pilot originally, the same thread. Now I'll take these screws out. These are the ones that hold the coupler to the mount. I'm going to assemble our coupler. And then we'll do that. Slide it in through the front. And then just drop these screws through the top like that. And then we just screw these in. And that's one side done. Doesn't that just look 1,000 times better? Alright, so in conclusion, I'm pretty happy with the way that these came out. Overall, very solid models for both runs. The only minor issues that they had were pretty quickly fixed up or addressed. No issues that would make these any sort of deal breaker for me. All in all, very solid models. I love the way they look. Definitely the Erie ones are going to be residents on this layout for a while. They just look perfect, and I just love the way they look on my layout. Without further ado, let's get into running these. Alright, so that about wraps it up for this review of the third Rail GP7s and GP9s. If you liked it, please consider subscribing to see more reviews and projects from me in the future. If you wish to see more content from me, I have my other socials linked below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Oh, for two, and that's why I quit basketball. Kobe, let's go!